The hour of convening having arrived, all members will please take their seats. All members of the House of Representatives will report to the floor and take your seats. The clerk will ring the bell. All members will report to the floor. We are going to have the morning roll call. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? Mr. Clerk, would you check on Representative Barton's button back there? Okay. It's needs some further work. Well, I guess it came on. All members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. Doorkeepers will please close the doors and keep them closed. Good morning. Hope everybody's well today. We will begin our day with scripture reading and prayer by the chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the gentleman from the 61st House District, Representative Roger Bruce. Representative Bruce.
Good morning, colleagues. It's always a pleasure to have an opportunity to introduce the pastor today. You know, all of us could use some prayer. And when that prayer is coming from somebody that has really been called by the Lord to deliver it, it makes it even better. Today, we have with us Reverend Paul Thibodeau, and he is one of the associate pastors at Impact United Methodist Church, where I attend. And he's a native of Chicago, but he came down here. Oddly enough, he was an architect, and he got a calling that said, stop building buildings and start building people. And he heard that calling, and he is now here today to deliver a message to all of us. Please join me in welcoming Reverend Paul Thibodeau.
Good morning. Thank you to Representative Roger Bruce for extending this request, and thank you to the Speaker of the House, David Ralston, for the invitation. Also want to thank Leisha and Kim and Holly for their kindness in ensuring that I received everything I needed in preparation for today. Thank you to all of you for being here this morning, and thank you to our guests, especially to my fraternity brothers, Omega Psi Phi fraternity, as this is Omega Day here at the Capitol. The devotion I have for you this morning is in the form of a question. Am I supposed to, or do I want to? If you would indulge me and say to your neighbors or somebody sitting next to you, am I supposed to, or do I want to? You see, I believe there is a difference between supposed to and wanting to. I was blessed over the last couple of weeks to be part of Team ATL Street Team, which was the street team of volunteers that were on the street for Super Bowl 53. And what I was supposed to do was I was assigned to a corner for the 3 shifts that I worked. And as I was assigned to the corner, what I was supposed to do was greet everybody that was walking around our great city of Atlanta with enthusiasm and greet them and welcome them and say to them, this is the place that you want to be this weekend. That's what I was supposed to do. But what I found was it was different when I took on that task because I wanted to. Because I wanted to, I engaged in the experience differently. Because I engaged in the experience differently, I met people from Venezuela. I met people from Colombia. I met people from Brazil. And then from the United States, I met people from Texas and New Hampshire and Massachusetts and California and North Carolina. And I even met people from the state of Georgia that had never been to the downtown area. It was a wonderful experience as I got to meet people from all over the place because I engaged in this opportunity because I wanted to. I even had the opportunity of coming across my college football teammate that I hadn't seen in 30 years. And you can imagine it did my soul good when he recognized me from 30 years ago. Things are different when you want to. I know that I'm supposed to cut the grass, but it's different when I want to cut the grass. I know that I'm supposed to eat healthy and exercise, but it's different when I want to eat healthy and exercise. I know that I'm supposed to get up and come to work every day, but it's different when I want to come to work every day. The psalmist encourages us in Psalm 63 to seek God earnestly and for our souls to thirst for God and for our flesh to yearn for God. See, when you thirst for God and you yearn for God, things start to be greater and bigger than what we're supposed to do, and they become things that we want to do. In other words, may I say to you this morning that we need God like we need water. When we put water inside of our bodies, it quenches us in ways that we have no idea what's happening inside of our body. But we realize that we're being freed up to be the best that we can be. And so when we thirst for God and yearn for God, doing God's will and acting in the ways that God would have us to do, become more of what we want to do instead of what we are supposed to do. So I say to the body of House of Representatives, in your duties of lawmaking and duties of representing the people, I know that you wake up in the morning and you come down here because it's what you're supposed to do. But I'm encouraging you to think about how bad do you want to do it. I remember when I was a freshman in high school, I finished my freshman year in football, and the coaches talked to me afterwards, and they said, you know, you could play varsity as a sophomore. Not just be on varsity, but you can play. The question I have for you is, how bad do you want it? That's all the coach had to say to me was, how bad do you want it? When we want things instead of just supposed to having them, our motivation is different. When our motivation is different, we desire to get along. We desire to come in here and find commonalities and find things that we agree on more so than things that pull us apart. When we want to do something instead of supposed to do it, our purpose is different. We know that we come in here and despite our differences, we know that it's bigger than us. We know that what you are doing today is creating something different for tomorrow. And when we want to do something instead of supposed to do it, the outcome is different. Things come together when we want something to happen. Instead of giving just a little bit, we all come in to give 100% each. And when we're giving 100, not because we're supposed to, but because we want to, things come together instead of pulling apart. As I prepare to close, Romans 12:18 says, encourages us that as long as it is up to me, live peaceably with everyone. I know that we're supposed to do our best to live peaceably. I know that we're supposed to do our best to get along. But what happens when we wake up every day, walk inside these doors and say, I know what I'm supposed to do, but today I want it to happen. Today I want to find ways to get along. Today I want to find ways to agree. It's not always going to happen, as you know. But as we go through the process, as you do what you do, as we strive to work together, as you strive to do the best for the will of the people, how about we remember this statement and the question, am I supposed to or do I want to? Because things are different when I want to. Will you stand and pray? Dear God, we know that this earth belongs to you and the fullness therein. We know, God, that you've called us for such a time as this. We know, God, there's a lot of things in our life that we are supposed to do. There's a lot of things that you call us to do that we are supposed to do. But what peace and what joy come from our desire to do it because we want to. So God created in us a desire to do as you call us to do, not because we're supposed to, but because we want to. And help us see the good that comes out of all that we do when we desire to thirst for you, to long for you, to work for you, to work for each other, as we quench our thirst with the goodness of God. And we realize that there are a whole lot of things, God, that we're supposed to be doing. But, God, there are a lot of things that we desire to do and that you desire us to do for the building of your kingdom. So have your way in this session today. Have your way as we continue to be at our best for you. And remember, I know we're supposed to do it, but yes, God, we want to do it. In your name we pray. Let the people of God say amen.
Doorkeepers will unlock the doors. Chair recognizes Chairman Darlene Taylor, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Information and Audits have reviewed. Hello, can you hear me? Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Information and Audits have read the proceedings of the previous legislative day and found them to be correct.
Chairman Taylor, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? The chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. The clerk will read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day.
Mr. Burns, on the 59th, moves the following be establishes the order of business during the first part of the period unanimous consents. Introduction of bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions. Second reading of bills and resolutions. Reports of standing committees. Third reading and passage of uncontested local bills and resolutions. Morning orders.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. First reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 258 by Representative Bodie of the 62nd, Kendrick of the 93rd, Dickinson of the 113th, Hughley of the 136th, Hutchinson of the 107th, and others. A bill being titled Act to amend Chapter 3 of Title 17, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to limitations on prosecution.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 259 by Representative Ballinger, the 23rd, a bill being titled Act to amend Code Section 35-333 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to powers and duties of Senator generally.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 260 by Representative Ballinger, the 23rd, Wiedauer of the 119th, Richard of the 97th, Earhart of the 36th, Gaines of the 117th, and others. A bill being titled Act to amend Article 1A of Chapter 7, Title 16 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to home invasion.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 261 by Representative Ballinger, the 23rd. A bill being titled Act to amend Article 2 of Chapter 1 of Title 42 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to the Sexual Offender Registration Review Board.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 262 by Representative Nelson of the 125th, Prince of the 127th, Bodie of the 62nd, Williams of the 145th, Williams of the 168th, and others. Bill being titled Act to amend Article 2 of Chapter 16 of Title 45, the official code of Georgia annotated, relating to death investigations.
Governmental affairs.
House Bill 263 by Representative Stovall of the 74th and Jones of the 91st. Bill being titled an Act to amend Part 13 of Article 6 of Chapter 2 of Title 20, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to organizations of schools and school systems under the Quality-Based Education Act.
Education.
House Bill 264 by Representative Werkheiser of the 157th, England of the 116th, Houston of the 170th, Nix of the 69th, and Hatchett of the 150th. Bill being titled an Act to amend Article 4, Chapter 5 of Title 21 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to public officials' conduct.
Health and Human Services.
House Bill 265 by Representative Fry, the 118th, Jones of the 25th, Drenner of the 85th, Cantrell of the 22nd, Cannon of the 58th, and others. Bill being titled an Act to amend Code Section 40-151 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to annual license fees.
Motor Vehicles.
House Bill 266 by Representative Wiedauer of the 119th, Setzler of the 35th, Gaines of the 117th, Cooper of the 43rd, Silcox of the 52nd, and others. Bill being titled an Act to amend Code Section 48-727 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to computation of taxable net income.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 267 by Representative Mitchell, the 88th. Bill being titled an Act to amend Article 2 of Chapter 10 of Title 17, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to the death penalty generally.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 268 by Representative Mitchell of the 88th, Scott of the 76th, and Bodie of the 62nd. Bill being titled an Act to amend Code Section 17, 17, 12, and 35-337 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to notification to victims of accused motions.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 269 by Representative Fry of the 118th, Jones of the 25th, Drenner of the 85th, Cantrell of the 22nd, Cannon of the 58th, and others. Bill be titled an Act to amend Code Section 40-151 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to annual license fees.
Motor Vehicles.
House Bill 270 by Representative Jones, 167th, Parsons of the 44th, Hawkins the 27th, Powell the 32nd, Jaspers the 11th, and others. Bill be titled an Act to amend Code Section 21-417 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to the presentation of identification to poll workers.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 271 by Representative Carpenter the 4th, Powell of the 171st, Hatchett the 150th, Dollar of the 45th, and Williams the 148th. Bill being titled an Act to amend Title 3 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to alcoholic beverages.
Regulated Industries.
House Bill 272 by Representative Holcomb of the 81st, Wilson the 80th, Oliver the 82nd, and Walensky the 79th. Bill being titled an Act to amend an act providing a homestead exemption for the city of Chamblee ad valorem taxes.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
House Bill 273 by Representative Holcomb of the 81st, Wilson the 80th, Oliver the 82nd, and Walensky the 79th. Bill being titled an Act to amend an act providing a homestead exemption from the city of Chamblee ad valorem taxes.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
House Bill 274 by Representative Hill of the 3rd and Tarvin of the 2nd. Bill being titled an act to provide a homestead exemption from the Catoosa County School District ad valorem taxes.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
House Bill 275 by Representative Hughley of the 136th. Alexander of the 66th, Smyrie, 135th, Stevenson of the 90th, Kendrick of the 93rd, and others. Bill being titled an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 21 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to elections and primaries generally.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 276 by Representative Harrell of the 106th, Kelly of the 16th, Carson of the 46th, Knight of the 130th, and Williamson of the 115th. Bill being titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 8 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to state sales and use tax.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 277 by Representative Carson of the 46th, Smith of the 134th, Williamson of the 115th, and Blackman of the 146th. Bill being titled an act to amend Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to insurance.
Insurance.
House Bill 278 by Representative Turner of the 21st, Tarvin of the 2nd, Dreyer of the 59th, Caldwell of the 20th, Bodie of the 62nd, and others. Bill being titled an act to amend Chapter 16 of Title 9 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the Uniform Civil Forfeiture Procedure Act.
Judiciary.
House Bill 279 by Representative Lumsden of the 12th, Fleming of the 121st, Hitchens of the 161st, Welch of the 110th, and Tanner of the 9th. Bill being titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 2, Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to state administrative organization.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Bill 280 by Representative Nolowitz of the 42nd, Richard of the 97th, Dreyer of the 59th, Thomas of the 39th, and Martin of the 49th. The bill being titled Act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 1 of Title 42 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to inmate policies.
Judiciary Non-Civil.
House Bill 281 by Representative Nolowitz of the 42nd, Welch of the 110th, Walensky the 79th, Dreyer of the 59th, and Holcomb of the 81st. The bill being titled an act to amend Code Section 16.6.13 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to penalties for violation of code.
Judiciary Non-Civil.
House Bill 282 by Representative Holcomb of the 81st, Hughley of the 136th, Buckner of the 137th, Oliver of the 82nd, Wen of the 89th, and others. Bill being titled an act to amend Article 4 of Chapter 5 of Title 17, the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating the investigation of sexual assault.
Judiciary Non-Civil.
House Bill 283 by Representative Holcomb of the 81st, Fry of the 118th, Alexander of the 66th, Smyrie of the 135th, Trammell of the 132nd, and others. Bill being titled an act to amend to enact the Georgia Voting Rights Act.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 284 by Representative Carson of the 46th, Parsons of the 44th, Dollar of the 45th, Nolowitz of the 42nd, Earhart of the 36th, and others. Bill being titled an act to provide that future elections to the office of Chief Judge of Magistrate Court of Cobb County shall be nonpartisan.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 285 by Representative Carson of the 46th, Parsons of the 44th, Dollar of the 45th, Nolowitz of the 42nd, Earhart of the 36th, and others. Bill being titled an act to provide that future elections for the office of Probate Judge of Cobb County shall be nonpartisan.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 286 by Representative Turner, the 21st, Perkle, 155th, Dickey, the 140th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Title 10 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to selling and other trade practices.
Agriculture and Consumer Affairs.
House Resolution 196 by Representative Mitchell, the 88th, Kendrick of the 93rd, Shannon the 84th, Davis of the 87th, and Bodie of the 62nd. A resolution creating the House Study Committee to review the Education Equalization Grant.
Special Rules.
House Resolution 213 by Representative Smyrie of the 135th, Hughley of the 136th, and Buckner of the 137th. A resolution compensating Mr. Nakia Jermaine Jackson.
Appropriations.
That completes first readers.
Second reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 235 by Representative Williams of the 148th, Benton of the 31st, Gilliard of the 162nd, Hogan of the 179th, Blackman of the 146th, and others. A bill relating to membership in the Georgia Firefighters Pension Fund. House Bill 236 by Representative Bruce of the 61st, Bazemore of the 63rd, McLeod of the 105th, Jackson of the 64th, Trammell of the 132nd, and others. A bill relating to emergency medical services. House Bill 237 by Representative Hughley of the 136th, Bennett of the 94th, and Kendrick of the 93rd. A bill relating to special license plates promoting or supporting certain worthy agencies, funds, or nonprofit corporations. House Bill 238 by Representative Wilson of the 80th, Beverly of the 143rd, Fry of the 118th, McLaurin of the 51st, Hutchinson of the 107th, and others. A bill relating to Brady Law regulations. House Bill 239 by Representative Avstration of the 104th and Fleming of the 121st, a bill relating to courts. House Bill 240 by Representative Hatchett of the 150th, Pruitt of the 149th, and Mathis of the 144th, a bill to amend an act to provide a new charter for the town of East Dublin. House Bill 241 by Representative Schofield of the 60th, Bazemore of the 63rd, Smyre of the 135th, Gardner of the 57th, Buckner of the 137th, and others, a bill relating to buildings and housing. House Bill 242 by Representative Hawkins of the 27th, Mathiak of the 73rd, Bennett of the 94th, Powell of the 32nd, and Gardner of the 57th, a bill relating to professions and businesses. House Bill 243 by Representative Hawkins of the 27th, Parsons of the 44th, Stevens of the 164th, Donohue of the 30th, and Pruitt of the 149th, a bill relating to public utilities, public transportation. House Bill 244 by Representative Stevens of the 164th, Harrell of the 106th, Smyre of the 135th, Parsons of the 44th, Hatchett of the 150th, and others, a bill relating to corporate purposes and powers of electric membership corporations. House Bill 245 by Representative Buckner of the 137th, Rich of the 97th, and Green of the 151st, a bill relating to retirement benefit options, payment of to surviving spouse requirement, effective reemployment, effective changes in retirement benefits, and payment on death of member relative to the Peace Officers Annuity and Benefit Fund. House Bill 246 by Representative Silcox of the 52nd, Cooper of the 43rd, Kelly of the 16th, Avstration of the 104th, Rich of the 97th, and others, a bill relating to depositions to preserve testimony in criminal proceedings. House Bill 247 by Representative Silcox of the 52nd, Cooper of the 43rd, Kelly of the 16th, and Fleming of the 121st, a bill relating to crimes against the person. House Bill 248 by Representative Alexander of the 66th, Trammell of the 132nd, Oliver of the 82nd, Shannon of the 84th, Wynn of the 89th, and others, a bill relating to elections and primaries. House Bill 249 by Representative Alexander of the 66th, Trammell of the 132nd, Oliver of the 82nd, Shannon of the 84th, Wynn of the 89th, and others, a bill relating to primaries and elections. House Bill 250 by Representative Alexander of the 66th, Trammell of the 132nd, Oliver of the 82nd, Shannon of the 84th, Wynn of the 89th, and others, a bill relating to primaries and elections. House Bill 251 by Representative Alexander of the 66th, Trammell of the 132nd, Oliver of the 82nd, Shannon of the 84th, Wynn of the 89th, and others, a bill relating to primaries and elections. House Bill 252 by Representative Alexander of the 66th, Trammell of the 132nd, Oliver of the 82nd, Shannon of the 84th, Wynn of the 89th, and others, a bill relating to primaries and elections. House Bill 253 by Representative Hawkins of the 27th, Bennett of the 94th, Mathiak of the 73rd, Werkheiser of the 157th, and LaHood of the 175th, a bill relating to professions and businesses. House Bill 254 by Representative Rhodes of the 120th, Burns of the 159th, Stevens of the 164th, Fry of the 118th, Corbett of the 174th, and others, bill relating to tax credit for film, gaming, video, or digital production in the state. House Bill 255 by Representative Williams of the 145th, Bruce of the 61st, Gullett of the 19th, Bentley of the 139th, Nelson of the 125th, and others, bill relating to elections and primaries. House Bill 256 by Representative Scoggins of the 14th, Powell of the 171st, Silcox of the 52nd, and Avstration of the 104th, a bill relating to regulation of controlled substances. House Bill 257 by Representative Scoggins of the 14th, Gamble of the 15th, Silcox of the 52nd, Kelly of the 16th, Fleming of the 121st, and others, bill relating to magistrate courts. House Resolution 182 by Representative Green of the 151st, Lumsden of the 12th, Donohue of the 30th, Werkheiser of the 157th, Clark of the 98th, and others, a resolution authorizing the granting of non-exclusive easements. Senate Bill 16 by Senator Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Hofstetler of the 52nd, Watson of the 1st, Burke of the 11th, Jen of the 47th, and others, a bill relating to physicians, assistants, and others, through second readers.
Reports of standing committees. The clerk will read.
Representative Richard Smith of the 13th District, Chairman of the Committee on Insurance, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Insurance has had under consideration the following bills of the House and has instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 68 do pass. House Bill 128 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Richard Smith of the 13th District, Chairman. Representative Jan Tankersley, the 160th District Chairman of the Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Local, submitted the following report. The Speaker of the Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Locals had under consideration the following bills of the House. Has instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 159 do pass. House Bill 161 do pass. House Bill 194 do pass. House Bill 162 do pass. House Bill 163 do pass. House Bill 164 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Jan Tankersley, the 160th District Chairman. That completes the reports of standing committees.
All right, we're going on to the local calendar. We are going on to the local calendar. Third reading and passage of uncontested local bills. For what purpose does Chairman Benton rise?
Make a motion
State your motion.
that House Bill 161 be returned to the committee.
Clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 161 by Representative Benton of the 31st, Jackson County. This bill provides for the composition of the Board of Elections and Registration in Jackson County.
On the motion of the chairman that House Bill 161 be returned to the committee from whence it came, is there objection? Is there objection? Chair hears none, and it is so ordered. House will be in order while we take up the local calendar. 3 bills on the local calendar relate to homestead exemption and requires a recorded 2/3 roll call vote for passage. If there is no objection, we will vote on the local calendar minus House Bill 161 as a whole with a recorded vote. Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. The clerk will read the local calendar.
House Bill 159 by Representative Pullen of the 131st, City of Molina. House Bill 194 by Representative Watson of the 172nd, City of Meigs. House Bill 162 by Representative Benton of the 31st, City of Commerce. House Bill 163 by Representative Benton of the 31st, City of Jefferson. House Bill 164 by Representative Benton of the 31st, Jackson County.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on the local calendar? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bills? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall these bills now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bills on the local calendar without House Bill 161 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of the bills on the local calendar. The ayes are 156, the nays are 0. These bills, having received the requisite constitutional majority, are therefore passed. Okay, we're going on now to morning orders. Morning orders. Chair is going to set a maximum time of 2 minutes each on the morning orders, and that will be enforced today, and the mic will be turned off. Chair recognizes Chairman Hatchett for a morning order.
Colleagues, I hope you'll listen up. Today it's my honor and privilege to recognize a mentor, a constituent, and a friend of mine. He's an Eagle Scout who attended 3 different colleges before obtaining his medical degree from MCG in 1952. He served in this House from 1976 to 1982. He served in the U.S. House of Representatives from 1983 to 1995. He also served our country in World War II from 1944 to 1946, earning 2 Bronze Stars. The best thing is that he's here today. He's 93 years old, and it's my pleasure to thank him for his lifetime of service to his community, his state, and his country. Dr. J. Roy Rowland, thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Lott for a morning order.
Good morning, colleagues. I would ask that you please join me this morning in inviting the large group, 38 students from Greenbrier High School, located in the gallery. If you all would stand, if you're a student from Greenbrier High School, Columbia County, please stand. They are here today with the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. Thank you for being here.
Chair recognizes Representative McLeod for a morning order.
Good morning, Speaker Ralston, and big up to my fellow representative of the House. I stand here before you as the granddaughter of one Mabel McLeod. She was born in 1909 in the island of Jamaica. Jamaica is the 3rd largest island in the Caribbean, and may I say, it is the most beautiful one. The people of Jamaica are proud, culturally rich, and demand enough respect. Since the native people of Jamaica, the Arawak and the Carib Indians, were genocided by slavery, Africans were brought to this island to be enslaved for the purpose of commerce, and now considered the native people of Jamaica. My grandmother told the story of her ancestors, the Maroons, a group of Africans who fought off their European captors and were never enslaved. Although my grandmother could not read or write, she was a giant in our family. In her later years, she allowed her grandchildren to teach her how to write her name. Her legacy stands here today as the first Jamaican born to stand in the House of Representatives in the state of Georgia. As a naturalized citizen of the United States, I have read the Constitution, paid my 680, taken the test for the oath of office, and oath to protect and served this country. I declare that the 2 most greatest things that we the people have is education and the right to vote. Any form of suppression is anti-American. You either believe in the call to make this country a more perfect union, or you do not. Madam Mock, as we affectionately called her, is no longer here with us, but I stand on the shoulders of this giant. Black history must be remembered, it must be taught, and it must be celebrated. I yield the well.
Chair. Chair recognizes Representative Carter for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues, and the ladies and gentlemen that are wearing red with us today. Please join me. Today, the American Heart Association has set aside February 13th as their official Go Red for Women in the Georgia General Assembly. As we shared with you earlier in the month that heart disease is the #1 killer of women, and today the American Heart Association, I'm not sure if they made it over here with us, as they wanted to acknowledge this day and encourage us to live a more healthy lifestyle. And to close, I would like to also recognize Ms. Nettie Jackson for her 25 years of service with the American Heart Association. And as those of you who have been down here, she is the one that had originated Go Red and advocating for women and heart disease here at the Georgia General Assembly. Thank you, and we yield the well.
Chair recognizes Representative Moore for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, I come to you today to recognize February 13th, 2019 as Library Day. We have 407 public libraries in Georgia, at least one in every single county of our great state. Georgia Public Libraries provide over 9,500 computers with high-speed broadband internet access so that Georgians can research, learn, and connect to jobs and to their communities. Georgia Public Libraries experienced over 70 million in-person and online visits in 2018. I would certainly not be who I am today as a lawyer and a legislator were it not for an intense love of libraries and reading that I developed as a child thanks to my local public library. Colleagues, I ask you to rise with me to acknowledge two distinguished guests in the gallery today. Julie Walker, our state librarian, please stand. As well as, thank you. As well as Jimmy Bass, president of the Georgia Council for Public Libraries. Julie and Jimmy invite all House members to join them for varsity hot dogs today at noon in room 216, followed by a brief library awards ceremony on the north staircase beginning at 12:30. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Dempsey for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning, friends. Today is a very special day in our Capitol. It's full of a lot of people, but out there amongst the group are our community service boards. It is Community Service Board Day at the Capitol. I'm not sure if they're up there. If y'all would wave if you are. Okay, great. We've got some. Good. Stand up and let us recognize you just a minute. Thank you. Thank you. So these are the hands and feet in each and every one of our communities, renowned for their great reputation throughout Georgia, assisting children, youth, and adults suffering from serious mental illness, developmental disabilities, and addictive diseases. Last year, nearly 2 million people suffered from mental illness in Georgia or addictive disease. with over 320,000 facing very serious mental illness. They're the providers of many of our APEX services and many of the very positive things that are happening. If you do not know them, I encourage you to go and visit. We presented a resolution to them earlier this morning, and I thank you for being here and for the work that you do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes for a morning order Chairman Heath Clark, Chairman Shaw Blackman, Chairman Robert Dickey, Representative Noah Williams, and Representative Danny Mathis for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the House. Today we have a special group from the Houston County area, the Robbins Regional Chamber of Commerce's Youth Leadership Team. If you would stand and let us recognize you today. Thank you.
Chair recognizes for a morning order the Dean of the House, Chairman Samari, and Representative Dukes.
Thank you. Hey, man. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On that fateful day in November the 17th, the year was 1911. On the campus of Howard University in Washington, D.C., amen, brother, in Thurgood Hall, 3 students and their faculty advisor established the greatest organization in the history of the world. That being the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Today we celebrate under the Gold Dome Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Day at the Capitol. Mr. Speaker, we will I know, it's a little overwhelming. But at this time, Mr. Speaker, we would like for the men of Omega to stand so that they can be acknowledged and recognized at this hour. And I want you all to know this could have never been accomplished without the sincere assistance and the appreciation of the Dean of the House, my frat brother, Representative Calvin Smiley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes for a morning order Representative Stovall and Representative Burnell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this morning we would like to welcome Fountain Elementary School and
Hawthorne Elementary School.
Members, will you please stand to help us to welcome the 2 elementary schools from Clayton County? They're somewhere, but thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes for a morning order Representative Chokas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. As y'all know, I served on the State Board of Education, and it's a distinct honor for me right now to recognize a group of young people from my district. And they represent Sly County High School. And let me tell you a little bit about Sly County High School. Sly County High School is ranked number 6 in the state based on CCRPI, and it's the only school in the top 10 outside of the metro area. In the gallery today, we have William Rooks with the AP Government class, Gabe Tice with the AP U.S. History class, and the Student Council President, Gage Hart. Guys, stand up and be recognized. Thank you for what you do. You're our future leaders. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Michelle Henson to introduce the Doctor of the Day.
Good morning, colleagues. I'd like to introduce the Doctor of the Day today. She is Dr. Adetolu Oyewo, and she's a board-certified emergency medicine physician. She received a medical degree from the Mayo Clinic College of Medicine in Rochester, Minnesota. Although her medical training was in Minnesota, she was born in Atlanta and is proud to be a native Georgian, descendant of Nigerian immigrant parents. Dr. Oyewo returned to Georgia to work immediately after she completed her medical training. She's a fellow of the American College of Emergency Physicians and is one of the founding members of its Diversity, Inclusion, and Health Equity section. She has also served as an assistant professor of emergency medicine at Emory University. She's passionate about reducing health disparities through health policy and a more diverse workforce. This is her first time serving as Doctor of the Day. Let's welcome Dr. Oyewo.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here today. I will be at the medical staff office in room 232. If you have any medical issues or questions, feel free to stop by and I'll be glad to help. Thank you for all you do for the citizens of Georgia.
Chair wants to recognize on the floor of the House former member of this body, former Representative Amy Carter. Clerk, the House will be in order. The clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 142.
House Resolution 142 by Representative Williams, the 145th, and Dickey, the 140th. A resolution recognizing, commending Student Athlete Advisory Council and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes Chairman Robert Dickey and Representative Rick Williams for an invite resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and ladies and gentlemen of the House. Representative Rick Williams and I are very honored this morning to have with us a distinguished group of students. This group represents the Student Athlete Advisory Council of the Georgia High School Association. To become a member of SAC, these students must submit an application including a letter of recommendation from their athletic director, principal, and be in good academic and disciplinary standing, and also serve in a leadership role in their school, and also be a member of a sports team. As you can see in this list of requirements for these young people at podium and others in their group in the gallery are hardworking, dedicated, and active students at their school. And we appreciate the Georgia High School Association encouraging and mentoring these young people with their leadership skills. At the podium, I have Representative Williams and myself have Jamazin Roberts of Baldwin County High School in Milledgeville, Libby Upton, Model High School in Rome, Bianca Brown, Woodland High School in Stockbridge, Maddie Cronin, Woodward Academy here in Atlanta, and Caroline Carmack from North Cross High School in North Cross. So Also, I'd like to give a warm welcome to the other advisory members in the gallery, along with Penny Pitts Mitchell, Associate Director of Georgia High School Association, and Robin Hines, Director. So thank you and welcome them. And I have Caroline here to speak.
Hello, good morning. Thank you, Speaker and Representative, for having us all here today. As a member of the Student Athletic Advisory Council, myself, along with all of the other students here in these bright blue shirts, we all serve in an advisory capacity for GHSA, and we serve as a voice for all student athletes across the state and within our high schools. So this council is made up of 19 students from various parts of Georgia. We're all athletes and leaders in our own schools. Between the 19 of us, I think we have just about every sport covered. Football, soccer, tennis, track, the list goes on. But as student leaders, it's our job to promote sportsmanship within our schools, among other schools, and with our administrators and officials. And this year we've discussed the importance of leadership on and off the field or court, and how to grow the population of athlete leaders at our respective schools. As of right now, we are currently in the process of planning our big leadership conference in May. And at this conference, athletes from all over Georgia will come together in Macon to learn more about leadership. We'll have keynote speakers and workshops designed to each teach different skills that will help athletes become better leaders. So thank you guys so much again for having us today.
Good job. Clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 207.
House Resolution 207 by Representative Beverly of the 143rd. A resolution recognizing February 13, 2019 as Clark Atlanta University Day at the state capitol and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes the chair of the Minority Caucus, Chairman Beverly, for an invite resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. Today, we'd like to recognize the president of Clark Atlanta University, Lucille Marget. Today is Clark Atlanta University Day at the Capitol. If there are any students here, if you would, please stand up and have the General Assembly acknowledge you. Very good. Welcome, welcome. And I turn it over to the president, Lucille Marget.
Morning. To the House of Representatives, I'm Lucille Marget, the interim president of Clark Atlanta University, and I bring greetings from the more than 40,000 students, alums, and faculty and staff that make up the CAU Nation. To all of our elected leaders, thank you for opening the doors of the Gold Dome to us today, and for helping us to provide another unique experience for our students on this CAU Day at the Capitol. Our predecessor institutions were among the very first to be founded in the city of Atlanta. Atlanta University, founded in 1865, and Clark College, founded in 1869. 30 years ago, these two historical institutions came together to form Clark Atlanta University. Since then, we have leveraged our combined 300 years legacy to build a dynamic institution, a university that is innovating through cutting-edge research and programs in cybersecurity and prostate cancer. We have produced a long line of graduates who are leading and changing communities across Georgia and around the world. We are Clark Atlanta University, and we stand ready to share, listen, and collaborate with you, our state leaders, as you work to create a better, brighter Georgia. Thank you for inviting us here today.
Okay, we are going on to the rules calendar. House will be in order. House will come to order. We are going on to the rules calendar. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 25.
Senate Bill 25 to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 40-6-163, the official code of Georgia annotated relating the duty of a driver meeting or overtaking a school bus, reporting of violations, and civil monetary penalty for violations captured by school bus camera. This bill has been referred to the Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security. That committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Once upon a time, you had to be here about 14 years before you got your first bill. You've been here, what, 14 days? Okay, times have changed. Chair recognizes Representative Jenny Earhart to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I present for your consideration Senate Bill 25, the School Bus Safety Bill. SB 25 is essentially identical to House Bill 75, a bill that I sponsored, which was signed by a number of our respected House leaders and my fellow members, for which I am very grateful. SB 25 passed quickly out of the Senate last week. Therefore, in the interest of expediency and for the sake of the safety of the children of Georgia who board and exit school buses every day, and at the request of our Governor Brian Kemp, I present you with Senate Bill 25 in place of H. Bill 75. I'm told that upon passage of Senate Bill 25 in the House, it is the Governor's intention that the school bus safety bill will be the first bill that he signs into law. That is something we can all be proud of. I'll direct your attention to a graphic. This is the school teacher in me coming out. I love graphics. Essentially what Senate Bill 25 does is it corrects what I would call a flaw in the current school bus stop law. Something that occurred last year during the passage or after the passage of House Bill 978. For all the good intentions of that bill, it did create a dilemma and a safety situation for our school children. You can see traffic scenario number 1. Many of our districts are covered with roadways like this. This is a 2-lane road, traffic in both directions. School bus stops, traffic traveling in the direction of the school bus and the opposite direction are also required to stop. Scenario number 2 you see is a 4-lane road. Now, this can apply to 4-lane roads or 2-lane roads that are divided by a turn lane. And as you can see in this situation, you have traffic stopped in both directions. The 2 cars that you see in the orange circle, that is the specific situation that this particular bill refers to. What happened last year was House Bill 978 removed the requirement of traffic traveling in the opposite direction of a school bus in the presence of a turn lane to stop. So as I stand here today, cars traveling in that direction are not required to stop for a stopped school bus. Traffic scenario number 3, as you see on the graphic, is also a 4-lane road. This can also apply to a 2-lane road. The difference here is the roads are considered separate roadways. They are divided by a median, and as the bill describes, that can be a grass median, unpaved, some sort of physical barrier. So up until last year, the graphics that you see on the screen were law. Currently, in situation number 2, those cars are no longer required to stop. Senate Bill 25 corrects the safety issue. It restores the bill to the original language and places our children in a much safer situation. This bill has the support of the Georgia Association of Solicitors General, the Georgia Association of Chiefs of Police, the Georgia Association of Pupil Transportation, school bus drivers, law enforcement, and public safety officials across the states, our school districts, and of course parents. I have yet to hear a single entity express any displeasure or opposition to this important bill. Ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of safety for the children of Georgia who ride our school buses every day, I ask for your vote in favor of Senate Bill 25. Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
You have a large number of questions. Do you yield for a question?
I do.
Chair recognizes your colleague from Cobb County, Representative Reeves, to your left for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentlelady yield?
She does.
Are you aware that in recent history, the record for a freshman to get a bill in the whale in the House is 17 days?
I was unaware of that.
Are you aware that that was my record?
No. I don't see any reason why a good Southern woman can't be a rule breaker, Representative Reeves.
Isn't it true that you are smashing my record?
I was unaware that I was smashing your record.
Does the gentlelady understand that I'm strongly tempted to ask everyone to vote no until day 18?
I would certainly hope that in the interest of the safety of the school children of Georgia, that is not your intention.
Well, I was about to get there. I got notes.
Oh,
Is the lady aware that I'm willing to put aside my self-interest due to the public safety concern?
And for that, my respect for you has even increased, Representative Reeves.
Thank you, and great bill. Thank you. You're a wonderful advocate for public safety. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you very much.
Do you further yield?
I do.
Chair recognizes Representative Kirby to your left for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the lady yield?
I will.
This is a serious bill, and in your line for the children, you obviously got some good home training before you got here. But do you really think it's wise to cower down to the Senate so quickly in your career and bow to their wishes already?
I can assure you that this Southern woman has no intention of cowering to anyone.
Thank you.
On either side here. So, like I said, I am deferring to Senate Bill 25 because it is the right thing to do. It is the expeditious thing to do. I am excited that the governor intends to sign this into law, and it will, by the way, become effective and in effect immediately upon the governor's signature.
Do you further yield?
I will yield for one more question.
Chair recognizes Representative Williams from Cobb County to your right.
Will the lady yield?
Yes, I will.
So I have a question about Section 2. Can you explain Section 2? It says any violation shall be adjudicated and punished based on subsection as it existed in the time the violation was committed. That's
Yes.
a little confusing to me.
Right. Essentially, what that means is that it essentially refers to violations that may possibly be in the pipeline, and whether or not they will be prosecuted, fined, based on the law as it stood at the time. There was some question about that brought up, and I think what we determined at this time, that this is the best and most expeditious language to get this law into effect. The concept of revisiting that issue later on in separate legislation is certainly still on the table. Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
Smart move. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on Senate Bill 25? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 25 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. For what purpose does Chairman Fleming rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, is it not true that it appears obvious that Earhart 2.0 is better than the original version?
I think you'll get unanimous agreement on that. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of Senate Bill 25. The ayes are 171, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 92.
House Bill 92 by Representative Rutledge, the 109, Fleming of the 121st, and others, to be entitled an act to amend Article 2 of Chapter 32 of Title 36 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the Georgia Municipal Courts Training Council, so as to provide that training hours completed by a municipal court judge in excess of those required may carry over for the following year. This bill having referred to the Committee on Judiciary, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Let me go back here just a moment. For what purpose does Representative Earhart rise?
Yes. Mr. Speaker, I respectfully request that the immediate
What are you wanting to do?
I want to rise to make a motion.
State your motion.
Thank you. I wish to request the immediate transmittal of SB 25 to the Senate.
The lady has moved that Senate Bill 25 be immediately transmitted to the Senate. Is there objection? Is there objection? The chair hears none, and it is so ordered. I think the posture you're in is that really it's not the Senate that needs to be told. You need to go down on the second floor, okay? And report to the governor of Georgia that the bill is now ready for his consideration. Okay, we've read the caption to House Bill 92. Chair recognizes Representative Rutledge to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I present to you HB 92, which has nothing to do with low voltage. You'd have to be here a while to understand that one. Basically, this measure is brought to us by our municipal court judges here in the state. which will allow that they're required to take an annual amount of training, which is 12 hours. And in the cases when they take more than 12 hours, this measure will allow them to carry over a max of 6 hours to the next year. So they'll still have to take a required amount of hours, but all classes of judges in the state are allowed to do this, and this would allow our municipal court judges to do the same. And that's what the measure does, and I will yield the well if there are no questions.
You do not have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask for your favorable consideration.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on House Bill 92? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 92 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of House Bill 92. The ayes are 171, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Chair wants to recognize on the floor of the House a former member of this body and now a member of the Public Service Commission, former Representative Jason Shaw. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 25.
House Bill 25 by Representative Belton of the 112th and others to be entitled an act to amend Article 5 of Chapter 4, Title 10, and Chapter 1 of Title 13 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to self-service storage facilities and general provisions regarding contracts, respectively, so as to provide military service members civil relief. This bill I refer to the Committee on Judiciary. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes Chairman Belton to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. About a couple years ago, the Speaker decided to have a military affairs working group, and under his leadership, this body passed 23 new laws to support our military. I really do appreciate all the effort that all of y'all did on that. I bring before you House Bill 25 as a Service Member Civil Relief Act. There is a federal Civil Service Relief Act that handles court proceedings, default judgments, evictions, and foreclosures and loss of insurance coverages for members of the military when they deploy if the place that for more than 90 days if the place they're deploying to does not have the same similar services. What the Pentagon has asked us, I'll put on your desk a colorful piece of paper. We passed 23 new laws, but there's a couple more things that the Pentagon is asking us to do. The green is things we've already done. The red are the things that we're working on. Myself and a couple of the members of the Military Affairs Working Group are working on these bills this year. The one I'm referring to is the bottom red one, increased protection under the Supplemental Service Members Civil Relief Act. So 18 states have done this law, including all of our military competitors. And what it does is very simply, if a reserve or National Guard or active duty member is sent somewhere over 90 days and this service that they have contracted to is not offered in that new area, then they'd be able to sever that contract if they have written orders. It only refers to health spa provision and for television, video, audio programming, and intranet. And so basically, if you had a Verizon account and you were sent to Montana for more than 90 days, this would not apply. But if you had a Verizon account and you were sent to Outer Mongolia, then this would apply, and you'd be able to sever that contract temporarily. I yield for questions, sir.
You have a couple of questions if you care to yield.
I'll yield.
Chair recognizes Representative Carson to your left for a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
I yield, sir.
Chairman Belton, thank you for your work on this. It's a question I just want to bring up before the House. You and I spoke about the Georgia National Guard. If they were activated and met the stipulations in your bill, they would qualify for the provisions. Is that correct?
That's exactly right, sir.
Thank you for your work on this, Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Do you further yield?
I'll further yield, sir.
Chair recognizes Representative Bonner to your right for a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
I yield, sir.
Is it not true that this legislation would have an immediate impact for the good for the over 100,000 active duty reserve and National Guardsmen in Georgia?
That's exactly right, sir, and I appreciate your service in the military.
Thank you for your work.
Thanks, sir.
You have another question if you care to yield.
I'll yield for one more question, sir.
Chair recognizes Representative Morris to your left for a question.
Yes, sir.
Does the gentleman yield?
I yield, sir.
Is it not true that the Georgia's 48th Brigade is currently deployed in harm's way right now?
That's exactly right, sir, and I sure appreciate your military service as well.
Is it not true? Do you further yield?
I further yield.
Is it not true that the state of Georgia loves our military?
Georgia loves our military. That's exactly why we're here.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on House Bill 25? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 25 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 25. The ayes are 173. The nays are 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. The House will be in order. We're about to recognize another group of very special Georgians. Clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 95.
House Resolution 95 by Representative LaHood of the 175th, Corbett of the 174th, and Sharper of the 177th. A resolution recognizing and commending the Valdosta State University Blazers football team for the 2018 Division II National Championship victory and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes Representative LaHood for an invite resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, members of the House, for taking a moment to recognize the VSU Blazers, Valdosta State University's Blazers, the 2018 Division II, the red and black team from Georgia that won a national championship this year. They just experienced their first undefeated season. They went 14-0, which is their fourth national championship overall. And the eighth overall national athletic championship VSU has achieved. So we're very proud of them, very happy to have them with us today. They got the championship trophy here, and I'd like to give VSU's president, Dr. Richard Carvajal, a couple minutes to say a few words.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Representative LaHood. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this great opportunity. We so love having Representative LaHood represent us in South Georgia, and we love calling South Georgia home. This is a great day, we believe, for South Georgia and all of South Georgia. It's always a great day when we have Valdosta State Day here at the Capitol. But yes, Mr. Speaker, this is a particularly great day because we are honored to bring a national championship home to the state of Georgia. I am joined today by Mr. Raymond Palmer. Everybody loves Raymond. We know that show. Well, we love Raymond on our campus because Mr. Raymond was a leader of our defense, a safety. He returned 3 interceptions this year for touchdowns. He is joined by Mr. Jacob Bell, our SGA president, and Miss Amia Thompson, our SGA vice president, Matt Ballone, a great member of our team, and so many other great friends from South Georgia here with us to my right and up in the well. We all celebrate what is happening at Valdosta State because it is South Georgia's university. And we want to try to continue to make South Georgia the great place it is to call home. And it is a great day when we get to celebrate a championship. In fact, I will tell you on that special day in December, Valdosta State University was the #1 trending item on Twitter in the world. That's right, the world was talking about Valdosta State and South Georgia and all of what we're doing here in this great state. So without any further ado, very quickly, I just want a true champion to say a quick word to you. Please help me in welcoming this champion, Mr. Raymond Palmer.
Good morning. Thank you all for the support. It's been an incredible journey. I'm still kind of downloading everything that processed in December. A lot of you may not know, but my dad, he passed away the week of the national championship game. He served 4 years in Vietnam, and I appreciate his support. And he's been there for me throughout my whole career. Also, I just want to thank these guys up here. They've been an incredible support throughout my whole career at Valdosta State University. And on behalf of our football team, we really do appreciate and we're honored to bring home another national championship at Titletown, USA. Thank you.
All right, we'll go down here and get a picture. Do we need to stand here? Let's go that way, son.
I don't know about y'all, but the president of VSU has me ready to run out of the tunnel and through a wall. The clerk will read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions.
Recognizing and commending the FBI Atlanta Field Office. Recognizing February 23, 2019 as the first annual Black Heritage Celebration in Smyrna, Georgia. Commending Dr. Deanna D. Johnson of Douglas County High School. Congratulating and commending Grady General Hospital. Recognizing and commending the Air Force Junior ROTC cadets of Bainbridge High School. Recognizing and commending Mackenzie Puckett. Recognizing Family Consumer Sciences. Honoring the life and memory of J.E. Ledger. Recognizing and commending the cities and counties of Georgia for the assistance given to the city of Newnan on April 21, 2018. Recognizing and commending the Worth County and Decatur Seminole County Forestry units on being named the Georgia Forestry Commission 2018 South Georgia Co-Units of the Year. Recognizing and commending the Oglethorpe County Forestry Unit on being named the Georgia Forestry Commission 2018 North Georgia Unit of the Year. Honoring the life and memory of Reverend Dr. Milton C. Gardner, Jr. Honoring the life and memory of Byron Maxie Powell. And for other purposes, that completes the reading of the privileged resolutions.
Is there any objection to adopting the privileged resolutions? The chair hears none, and the resolutions are adopted. Chair recognizes Chairman Houston for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We'd like to welcome a group from Tift County. Today we have the Tift County Youth Leadership Group with us in the chamber. If you'll please stand, and thank you so much for coming and visiting us at the Capitol.
Okay, we're going on now to announcements. The House will continue to be in order. House will continue to be at order. Some of you may want to hear some of these announcements. Chair recognizes the chairman of the House Rules Committee for an announcement, Chairman Powell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Governmental Affairs State and Local Government Subcommittee will meet at 1 o'clock in 406 CLOB, and immediately following will be the full committee meeting. So if you're on the subcommittee, please be there at 1 o'clock. We only have an hour in that room.
Chair recognizes for an announcement, Chairman Werkheiser.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Industry and Labor Committee will meet today, 3 o'clock at CLOB 506. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representatives LaHood and Chairman Corbett, along with Representative Sharper, for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the House. We just wanted to remind you about the Lowndes County and Valdosta Bird Supper tonight at the Freight Depot. It's from 5 to 7. It's a great event. It's always a highlight of the session, and there'll be great food, live band, and above all, great company from one of the best parts of the state, South Georgia. So thank y'all. Hope to see you there.
Chair recognizes the chair of the Minority Caucus, Chairman Beverly, for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Tomorrow, the Georgia House Democratic Caucus will meet at 8 a.m. Please be on time. The only thing more important than time is who you spend it with. So make sure y'all there in the morning. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the Chairman Lynn Smith for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the House. This is the House Natural Resource and Environment Committee meeting tomorrow morning. Please note the different room. The time is the same, 8 o'clock. It is a joint meeting with the Senate, and it will consist of, it's in room 341, I'm going to say that a few times. It will consist of a presentation by the Environmental Protection Division and an update from Georgia Power, MEAG, and Oglethorpe Power on coal ash remediation. Again, tomorrow morning, in the Capitol, room 341. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Marin for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. It's United Way tonight at the depot, at the Blue Room from 5 to 7. United Way serves 13 counties in the metro Atlanta, and they have in the map census tracts and zip codes against 14 indicators of child well-being, focus on improving outcomes for children and families. Confirmed speakers tonight will be Governor Brian Kemp, Gwinnett County Chamber of Commerce President CEO Dan Kaufman, United Way President and CEO Milton Litter, and just added the Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lansbottom. So tonight from 5 to 7 at the depot in the Blue Room, United Way. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Chairman Richard Smith for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This afternoon at 4 o'clock in room 506 CLOB, the Special Committee on Access to Quality Health Care will have House Bill 198 presented. House Bill 198 will be presented today at 4 o'clock, room 506.
Chair recognizes Chairman Reinders for an announcement. Chairman Reinders. I don't think he's ever been missing before. Chair recognizes Representative Dreyer for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Fulton delegation will be having a meeting at 12:15 in room 515, CLOB. But if you want lunch, it's available now in CLOB 514 for the Fulton delegation. We'll be hearing from the Fulton Commissioners and the Fulton Board of Education. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Welch for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Public Safety Subcommittee on Appropriations will be meeting today at 3 o'clock in room 406. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Ron Stevens for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the Coastal Delegation will meet immediately on adjournment in room 132 here at the Capitol. That's 132 at the Capitol for a lunch and learn. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Sam Watson for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Rural Caucus will be meeting for lunch today upon adjournment in the Department of Ag. We've got the Reese's coming and Tender Care. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Dempsey for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Human Resources Subcommittee of Appropriations will meet at 1 p.m. up in the top floor of the Capitol in room 403. Room 403 at 1 o'clock. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Bennett for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Georgia Legislative Black Caucus will meet today at 3 p.m. in room 514. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Dollar for an announcement.
Thank you, Speaker. The House Working Group on Creative Arts and Entertainment will meet upstairs at 403 at 3 o'clock. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the Secretary-Treasurer of the Majority Caucus, Representative Williamson, for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Hard-Working Ways and Means Committee will continue subcommittee meetings this afternoon for the Income Tax Subcommittee, Sales Tax Subcommittee, and Ad valorem Tax Subcommittee. They'll be rolling in succession beginning at 1:15 p.m. in Capitol 133. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That completes the announcements. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader of the House for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that this House stand in recess until 4 p.m. today and then be adjourned until 10 a.m. Thursday, February the 14th, 2019.
The Majority Leader has moved that this House be in recess until 4 o'clock p.m., whereupon we would stand adjourned until Thursday, February 14, otherwise known as Valentine's Day, at 10 a.m. All those in favor of the motion will please say aye. All those opposed will say no. The ayes clearly have it, and this House will be in recess until 4 p.m. Then we will be adjourned until 10 a.m. Thursday, February 14.